Hi everyone, welcome to today's office hours. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just signify in the chat section. Um, Hello. Okay, awesome. So we'll just wait for more people to join. So I'll be waiting for about 2 minutes because today's class is just an hour. So and also if you can see my screen, please signify. Please, if you can see my screen, kindly signify. Okay, thank you. So we'll start by 5:05. Let's wait for about 20, 30 people to join. So while we are waiting, yesterday I covered decorators, so I talked about decorators, and that is what you can see on my Visual Studio Code right now, a simple Python decorator. And yesterday, if you were at the end of the meeting, you would remember that I had an error just before the meeting ended, which I couldn't figure out why at that point. So I would tell you why I had the error. And we'll continue. So let's wait for more people to join. So we'll be starting by 5:05. So if you have questions, you can simply just put them in the chat because I'll quickly glance through most of the questions. Like I said, we have just 1 hour, so we will be moving very fast today. No activity yet in the chat. Okay, so 5:04. I think we can begin now. So hello everyone, welcome to today's office hours. And as usual, we'll be talking all things Python. So yesterday I was talking about decorators. I looked at decorators and functions, talked about what the decorator is, and we were building, or I was working on a simple decorator to try to explain the concepts of decorators or what decorators are. So I would most likely be going through what decorators are. I'll just make like a quick recap of what decorators are. So okay, before I do that, for those who were privileged to stay till the end of the call yesterday, I had like an error that I promised to give a reply to as to why I was getting it. So the error was something like this. So I hope everyone can see my screen. Please, if you cannot see my screen, you can just signify in the chat section. So just wait for it to run. Okay, so this was the error. So this was the error that I was having yesterday. Tuple object is not callable. Now, the reason I was having this error was because here I was returning a tuple. So I was not returning a function. So I was returning a tuple that contained two functions. So I wasn't supposed to do that. I was just supposed to return a function, and I didn't realize this. I was not even looking at this yesterday. So it was immediately after the call that I was glancing through it again, and I saw that. So if I run this, we get this, which works. So let me just make a quick glance through of what decorators are. So I said decorators are functions or methods that allows us to modify a function. It helps us modify the behavior of a function or a class. So decorators allows us to wrap functions in order to modify the behavior, extend their behavior without permanently changing that function itself. So the function is as it is, but we are modifying the behavior of that function. So modifiers in themselves are functions. Now, I mentioned that functions yesterday. I mentioned that functions takes in parameter can take in another function as a parameter or as an argument. We can also pass functions into a variable such that we will make that variable in itself a function. So I demonstrated all that yesterday. You can go check the link for yesterday's class to have like an overview of these things. So let's just create a new. So I'll be taking this out. I'll just be commenting this out, and I'll be creating a new decorator. So let's create a function. Function starts. Now this function takes in another function. Yeah, so let's pass for now. We don't have anything in this function yet. We will come back to it. So as you can see, I am using pass here. So this is how you can use. I can just use pass to write a block of code, to like skip a block of code that you just don't want to write anything there yet. So someone said I have invalid syntax with else. I don't think it is the else itself you're having an invalid syntax. When you have probably you are having an else without an if statement. So you should check if you have an if statement in your else, like if you're in your if the else block. or you probably have an elif statement and just an else statement without an if statement. So you can just send the screenshots of the error to me on Slack. Yes, functions are actually objects. Functions are actually objects. In fact, in Python, functions are termed first class objects. So it means that functions can be passed as parameters or as arguments to other functions. So let's just continue. So I have another function here. So I'll say start car make underscore sound. So this takes in, okay, no, let's not take in any arguments. Just do this. Let's say sound equals, sorry, I don't know if this is the sound cars make, but let's just go with it. Then let's return sound. So yesterday I explained the difference between return and print. So I said return is used to set a return value for our function. So if there is no return value for our function specified in that function returns none. So the default return value of every function is none. So let's do this. So basically, let's just print this out. Print make sound. So we have room in our console. So that works. Now we want to modify this function. So I want to make sure that this function changes, but does not permanently change. It still maintains this sound that it makes, but I probably want to have another string in this function. Like the function should return something else, like my car makes the sound vroom or something like that, or honk or something like that. Let's just say honk. Honk sounds nicer to say. So my car makes the sound honk. I want to print out in my console. So that means I'll be modifying this function to do that. It will still make this sound, or let's do this so everyone can understand better. So exactly. So this works. So what I'll do is this. Here, I want to define another function. I want to define a function called, okay, let's call it wrapper. Then, so I want to return this. I have sound equals so now let me stop here for now. Let me stop here. Let me explain something. So what I'm doing here is I have a start car function. Now, this is just a normal function for now. This is just a normal function. But we want to make this function we want to make this function a decorator. Please, can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, please signify. If you can hear me, just signify. So I make sure that everyone is following. So this is just a simple function here, and I want to make this function a decorator. Now I have another function inside this function. I will be returning this function. So this function startCar returns a function, or this function startCar will be returning a function. So like I said, a function can return another function. You can take in a function as an argument, and that is how to use decorators, because most times what our decorators do is that they take in a function. Now, so I am going to be passing. So I am going to be passing this make sound So since the return value of this make sound function is this guy here, honk, if it is passed into this startCar function, it will be string here. So it will use the answer. It will say my car makes the sound honk, or whatever sound I am passing. So let me return wrapper. Just this. Now startCar. And we are done. But before I run this code, this syntax here, let's ignore this for now. Let's leave the startCar function. From line 8, this syntax here is equivalent to this. Equals this. This syntax here is equivalent to this. So it's like saying, oh, okay, I have my startCar function and I am passing the function make sound to it as an argument. So this is just literally the same thing as this. And let me run it to show the output of this. So so here I am calling it on line 13. So take note, I am calling the make sound function itself and not the startCar. So the startCar is just a wrapper. It is wrapping the make sound function. The startCar does not do anything now. It's just wrapping it. I'm not calling it anywhere. I am not calling it. I'm just calling it here as so the syntax for the decorator is this at here, and the function you want to use as a decorator. So if I do this, it says wrapper takes, oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. So let's do this. Now we are getting this error because we also need to pass in an argument here. So that is what this will use. So let's just use, say, sound. And let's run. Make sound is missing one propositional argument, sound. No, that is not supposed to work. That's not supposed to be. It's Alpha. So I'm having this error, and Incoming. So incoming. So I'm getting this error and I am not supposed to. So just give me like a minute to see why I am having this error. Probably just read through it. Oh, 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 okay. I just realized that our make sound function here actually takes in the parameter. So when we are calling it here, we need to pass in an argument to here. Now it skips me. So this should be uh I don't want this, I don't want to be passing a parameter as let's just do this. Exactly. So let's just do that. So it says my car makes the sound honk. So yeah, it still works like a normal function, make sound. So sorry, it skipped me. It still works like a normal function. So anytime you are calling the function anywhere, you still need to pass in the parameter or the arguments that was supposed to be there anytime when you define the function. So anytime you're calling, you need to pass in those parameters. And since you are passing in the parameter and you don't really know the parameter that you're passing in at the time of calling the function, you just set the args and the quags arguments in the function that is supposed to call it. So you can just set it here and you get the argument. So if I say something like make sound, you see, my car makes the sound. So we are still making use of the make sound function. That is what we are calling. But now we have extended the behavior of this make sound function. We have extended the behavior of this make sound function. And instead of returning just this sound that it's supposed to return, because basically, if you look at this, it is supposed to return just this sound here. But we have a decorator that extended the behavior for it to be able to output my car makes the sound, then the sound itself. So this is just like a simple decorator. I'm sure this this is clear to some people and this might not be clear to some people, but you can just read up more on it. I should have some reading materials on decorators that I can help you with if you send me a DM on Slack. But this is like an overview of how to use decorators. Uh, is it clear? I don't know if anyone was following or through. Is it clear? Is there something you would like to ask regarding this? So I'm waiting for questions. Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. I am happy that it was clear to some people. Very happy. Uh, I was even me at first. It didn't take me like the first time I tried it to understand decorators. So you just keep trying and you would understand better. So it's what um okay, why use double asterisks? Okay, that is okay. So I explained this in one of the last live sessions this week. I explained this that this when Python sees this in a function declaration, it's assumed that this is a keyword argument. So we have keyword arguments and we have non-defined keyword arguments. So keyword arguments are passed to functions anytime um, we pass keyword like keyword variables to them, and it makes the keyword argument is just like a dictionary, as I explained, is a dictionary or to some people an object. Some languages calls it objects, but Python we call it dictionaries. So it's a dictionary in Python that stores your arguments in key value pairs. So that is what keyword arguments are. So you specify it with a double asterisk. And this is just the non-defined arguments where you can pass an array of arguments or a tuple rather of arguments, and you will be able to access them using the args keyword here. Someone said, is it possible for you to give just a simple rundown again? Okay, so I would come back to that because you can actually watch it after like the class ends. We have about 30 minutes. So if you have more time before the end of the class, I would give this a rundown. So let me just take other questions. I'll come back to that. So someone said, what's my name on Slack? My name on Slack is still my name, like Enny. It's still the name, like the name you would probably see on this YouTube live. I say Python Office Hours with Enny. That's still my name. My name practically everywhere is Enny. So okay, so the concept is clear, but the logic is not all that clear. Okay, so let me use the example so this is just I use this example. I use this example just to make like a new example, and people who were not here yesterday would not get lost with this example I was using. So this was the example I was using yesterday, yeah. And this is supposed to be it. So let's just let me do this. Let's just take this out. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we have, let me use this example to see if you would understand. So we have a function, or let's leave this. So we have a function here called greet. So what the function does is just to return good evening. It's just to return the greeting, good evening. Yeah. Now, I have a greet someone function. Now, the greet someone function, um, the greet someone function is supposed to like greet someone like, okay, who are you greeting? I'm greeting dad, according to this example. So at the end of like the function, I want to modify this such that it returns or it prints greets good evening dad in like the terminal. Yeah. So in the decorator itself, because I believe that the function that the decorator is getting as an argument is not the issue. The issue itself is the decorator. So in the decorator itself, I have a function. Now, take note, you can also do this, like you really don't need to return a function. I'm just doing this to explain that functions also return another function. So we can have something like um and return this. Now, this is just a simple function. This is the decorator itself, and this is just a simple function that that takes in this function as an argument, this greet function as an argument. Now, the greet function is called here, and it is greeting the dad. It's greeting someone, it's greeting dad. So I'm just returning the string greeting dad. So what the decorator does is just to take in this greet as a parameter or as an argument here. So at greeting someone, greet someone. Simple. I mean, you can have complex decorators. Like your decorator can do something very complex. And when we go into Django itself, you'd see more uses of decorators. We use decorators a lot in Django. It's just you're not the one writing the decorator, of course. It's already pre-written for you. You just call the decorator and you can see how you use it in like your code and stuff like that. So for now, it's just this simple thing. The decorator is not it's in itself complex. It's what you want to do. So what's even printed now? So we are getting string objects is not callable. Oh, because you're calling a string here. So we should just return the function instead. So yeah, make sure you just return your function instead. So you should have a function that actually uses the function you want to pass in as an argument to the decorator. So we have good evening dad. So even if I change this, the dad remains constant because I am just modifying the behavior of this greet function. So someone said, can we use only quarks? Yes, you can. You can use quarks. It's not. You can use quarks. So I believe we are done with this decorator. So I'm just going to comment it out. So you can use quarks. So let me just make a simple function. So someone said, what's the concept of using a DEF in a DEF? define. I don't think I guess that question. I don't think I get your question. Please, if you can specify it better, if you can explain further. So it says, can one use decorator for inbuilt functions? Yes, but you must make sure that what you are using the decorator for, like, actually tallies with the inbuilt function. Like, it's not like you just build a decorator and just start passing in any function. It must work with what you want to use it for. But yes, you can use a decorator for inbuilt functions. So, like I said, decorators just modify the behavior. They don't change the function itself, and that is exactly why you can use a decorator for inbuilt function. They don't really change the function itself. They don't change the function. They just extend the behavior. They just makes the fun. They just make that function rather do um something like something better than it was doing like before. So you are not changing the function. You're just extending the behavior. So you're not permanently modifying it. Just take notes. Okay, so okay, I defined a function and indented and defined another function in that first function. What's the concept? Okay. Oh, okay. I understand now. It's just nested functions. It's just that you can have a function inside another function. Like that's the idea, just nested functions. I can have a function inside another function. It's just that nested function that you can, that's just the idea that you can have a function inside another function. So the person asking if you can use quag, so define. So, I'll then do so far. Okay, so I'm done with this. So let me just show you. So can you see that you can actually use quads alone? So I think I have used like something like this example when I was explaining quags. So you can just, I believe like the people that were in the class um can possibly understand what this code does. So I am passing 3 keyword arguments in my function, 1, 2, 3. So in Python, the quags is going to be like this. So if I print the quag, it is probably going to look like this. It's probably going to look like this. Okay, let me just put it in the same line. So it is probably just going to look like this. So this is a dictionary. Okay, actually like this. So this is a dictionary in Python, and this is a key, and this is a value. This is a key and the value for that key, the key and the value for that key. So that is what this is. So if I print, that is what will show in the terminal. 1, 2, 3, exactly. So same thing. So I am looping through it, and as in a dictionary, you access the value of a key by subscripting that dictionary. So you subscript by passing like this square brackets, and the key itself for a dictionary. So if you are familiar with arrays, you know that you can also subscript to get an item to access an array. So you subscript to access an array and stuff like that. How many levels of nesting are possible? You can nest for like you can just keep nesting. Just keep nesting if you like. If you feel it suits your use case, you can keep nesting. There's no limit to how much you can nest. But I don't see why you should have three nested if you have like three nested functions, or you should probably split your logic that can accommodate for as little nesting as possible. So just do that, but it's not like there is a limit to how many levels of nesting you can have. Yes, you can always just come to this link after the class, and I think you should be able to get the the, um the class should still be able to be accessed. Oh yeah, it's not necessary you actually use decorators. If you don't see a need for using decorators, you don't actually need to. Besides Django, I don't think I've ever had to write decorators in my code, in my pure Python scripts. So you should, if you don't see a need to write decorator in your code, you probably just not write it. It's not like it's a must. So are there any more questions? I believe we've covered everything we have for this week. So for next week, we'll be talking about classes and objects. Now we are getting deeper and deeper into Python. So we'll be talking about OP, object-oriented programming, from next week in Python. So I believe we don't have questions. It seems like the chat is dormant for a while. So does everyone understand functions like for this week? Does everyone understand this week's task? Is there anything either from last week? I think we have about 15 minutes more. So from last week's topic, this week's topic, anything you don't understand, so I can just quickly go over them. Okay. So I believe can one have a single decorator that can work with multiple functions? Single decorator that can work with multiple functions. I have not tried it before, but let's see. It's actually worth trying. Why am I always equating the sum to zero? Because that is like where you would want every sum to start from. So if I want to add three numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3, the sum is just like this is just like a placeholder to hold the values. So if I make it 1 and I want to add 1 plus 2 plus 3, this will be 7, not 6, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 is actually 6. So this will be 7. So we don't want that because that is wrong. So it should actually be 0 instead of 1. I don't know if you understand. Someone said, okay. Okay, for loop in dictionaries. Okay, that is actually worth looking at. Comment this out. So let's have a dictionary called fruits. No, not fruits. Person. Okay, this is actually valid. So person name of the person is Enny. No, let's not use me. John. The name or the age, let's say John is 50. Why not? Now, what other information? Race, let's say race. John is African, Afro-American, something like this. Name, age, race, height. Something like this. Okay, I think this is good enough. Let's look through John. So it should be 4. Don't spoil my shine. Let's not do this. Let's not use. I don't know why this at all. Let's do this. Let's do this for now. Let's comment this out. So I'm using human here because I don't know what else to make this variable here. So just bear with me. So print person human. Okay, now this will not work. This will not work. This will not work. But let me show you why. It's looping through, but we are only getting the values. We are not getting the key because human is the key. So what if we actually want to print human, like human, like I say human, what if we want to print out the key and the value? So that's why I said this. Now, let's say we want to print the key and the value. So we can just do F. Let's do this. Let's have two print statements. And let's say key in keys. Key is this. Value is this. How this would work. So key is what? Name. Value is John. Key is age. Value is 50. So in a for loop or in a loop generally, but in the for loop, we use the the variable here as a subscripted value for our objects. So you use this. There are so many ways to loop through a dictionary, obviously, and this is one way to, but I didn't want to use this so that you would understand how we are actually accessing our objects. We can also do, so if you notice, we have two loops. Let me take out this guy. Expected an indented block on line 5. I don't think there's an error in this code, so code runner must be exactly. So name John, age 50. So we have person.items. We can also print person dot keys and person dot values. My enter key is not working. Because okay, should work now. Okay, person dot keys of values. So we have dictionary keys is name, age, race, and height. So we are getting it in an array. Dictionary value is John 50, Afro-American 1.75. So this is just like an overview of how to access dictionary in Python. Okay, I wasn't looking at the chat. So someone said, hi, Enny, if I have 3 different dictionaries of scores of a student for 3 courses, 3 different dictionaries of scores of a student for 3 courses, and I want to get a total score or subject for the students, how can I look through each of the dictionary to get total? So I'm guessing you mean something like, I don't know if I have a visual representation of your question, but do you mean name John score 30 or something? I don't know how, if you can write out the dictionary on in that chat session, I'll be very happy. This is for person. I'm actually Okay, I'm actually talking about this for KV in example.items. I think that's what we just used now. Okay, so let me even print out. Let me take out this array and print so you would understand what is actually happening when you loop through it. So we have okay, let's have the full initial dictionary. Okay. Okay, let's do this. So the difference between this and this other two guys is that this dot item is making each key value pair into a tuple. So it is making it into a tuple, and the first item in the tuple um is the key, and the second item in that tuple is the value. So for key comma value in person dot item, so for each iteration, we are iterating over a tuple. And for each tuple, we have the key and the value. So the loop is saying for key comma value, so the key is this guy here, and the value is this guy here. So that is how we loop through it, and it prints it out on the console, or however you want to use it. So math is okay. I think I can see this. Okay. So something like this, I believe. So maths, English, French. This is not a dictionary. I hope you know that this is not a dictionary in Python. This is a set. This in itself is a set. This is a set. So you are not this is not a dictionary. So you are still not writing it properly if you mean a dictionary, because this isn't a dictionary. This is maths itself is a set. English is a set. So a set is also a data type. So the difference between a set and probably like a list or a tuple is that set does not allow for duplicate values. So in an array or in a list, I can have like duplicate values. I can have duplicate values. I can have 0, 0, 1, 0, but a set will not allow you to do that. So make it an array, make it a dictionary. I still don't know how this would be in a dictionary, because what would be the key and what would be the value? Math has like 3 scores. I think you are probably mean something like this. I don't know what you mean by making this a dictionary. How should it be? Whose score is rich, or how are the scores arranged? So I think our time is up, but you can look into this in our next class, or probably just send me a DM. But I don't know how you want me to make this. I don't know what is the key, what is the value, something like that. Yeah, so an item is key plus value, yes. Oh, the name of the students will be the key. Oh, okay. So I guess something like this. Okay, so I think a so I think a meeting is supposed to be holding now. I think Diaz or something. Sorry, I said I think um UI design. Yeah, design. So okay, let's just see. But do you mean something like this? Okay. So your question is how to add each of these scores. Okay, so there are three different dictionaries. So let me see. Okay. Since they all have the same length, you probably can. And you know the name of the students. So um some this will not be efficient, but it should be able to solve the problem. So let's just say um so let's just do this. Or we don't even need to look through it, basically. We really don't need to look through it, do we? Just do this. We really don't even need to look through it. So um we really don't need to look through it. It's even easy self. So just print. This is not even a loop problem. So can you see? I didn't even see it at first. So we really don't need to loop through it. So I hope you can see So do you understand? So it's not even a something that you can solve using loop, unless you want to stress yourself and you want to start looping through them and adding. You can obviously do it through loop, but it will not be efficient. It's like there's really no point. Uh, you just be your time complexity of your code will just be complex, be high. So this is just it. You can do this and you'll be fine. So I think that sums up. Okay, yes, that is when you would now need to start looping through each of them. When um if it is much like 10 courses, 20 courses, that's when you now need to loop through them. So probably something like this. Um so add the key for each there. Okay, it's already okay, it's already time. So I'm taking in some that classes time. So we would probably continue this in our next class. So thank you all for joining. Yes, I'll be sending you probably sending you a better, more efficient way to solve this using loops. So thank you all for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's class. I definitely did. It was fun. And see you all next week. Bye. And have a great day. I forgot to say that. Have a nice night.